I come from a state where I lost a dear friend to political violence. She was murdered in her own home. So the threats of violence are not abstract to me. They are real. It happened to people that I loved. This threat of political violence is not an abstract thing. I live in Minnesota, where my dear friend Melissa Hortman and her husband were shot and killed in their own home as an act of political violence. The threat that it poses to our country, to the norms of our country, that we do not resolve our differences with violence, with murder. We resolve it by working it out, by talking. That is the deepest and most terrifying thing about what the president has done.
Well, I think it's outrageous, and even more outrageous that he would retweet a post that says "hang them," that is on his own Truth Social site. Look, political violence has no place in America, and this is why many of us believe that Donald Trump has no place in leadership or in the White House. You simply can't have a commander-in-chief who is simultaneously identifying people, my colleagues, all 6 of whom served honorably in the armed services, and pointing to them and saying, oh, they deserve a violent outcome, whatever it is, hanging, whatever it is he's suggesting. Look, what my colleagues urged was simply that the members of the military follow the law. In Article 90 and Article 92, the Uniform Military Code of Justice is very clear. Not only is there a right not to obey an unlawful order, in fact, there is a duty. There's a duty not to obey an unlawful order. This should have been a non-issue. Instead, the president made it one.
And I think this is where we miss the point, when we do not acknowledge the complexities within Nigeria, when we use a single story to define the conflict. This is why we've not been able to find viable solutions.
Sexual violence is not a partisan issue. Justice for survivors is not a partisan issue. And the pursuit of truth, transparency, and accountability is not a partisan issue. It is.
She wasn't given her full test results or medical records. That's not a mistake. It is a bureaucracy designed to deny care and hide what's happening inside these ICE detention centers.
If DHS cannot be held accountable, if we're obstructed from conducting oversight at these centers, as some of us have been trying to get into since June, if they are systematically undermining our civil rights, pepper spraying one-year-old children, perpetrating violence in our communities, what is Congress's responsibility?
Amazing. After taking 2 bullets in his left hand, Captain Bianchi simply decided to fight on with a pistol rather than his rifle, because he had lost the use of the other hand.
To our doctors and our nurses, pharmacists, first responders who keep rural America healthy, we want to thank you.
Keep up the hard work, and thank you again for all that you do for your neighbors in rural America.
Your work saves lives, your compassion gives hope, and your dedication holds our communities together.
The men and women who serve our rural hospitals, clinics, and emergency medical services are the backbone of our communities. They show up every single day with the commitment and compassion, often doing more with less and serving as the first and sometimes only point of care for miles. Today,
and I refuse to believe that this is the new normal. I refuse to believe that we're going to use fear and intimidation against people we disagree with, and I'm not going to be forced away from speaking up on behalf of my country.
Sure. I mean, I think the BIS absolutely needs to be able to partner with industry to highlight where there is circumventions or violations of controls. That's very important. And to the degree that there are people that are in industry that are see malfeasance and are willing to call it out, we should absolutely welcome that, because those people are patriots that are really trying to help the U.S. government.
Because when refineries close, families suffer. Small businesses suffer. Transportation costs rise. Prices jump at the pump. And the whole region becomes dependent on foreign suppliers. Thank you, sir.
We knew that this was what was going to happen because if there was anything in there about Republicans, the Biden administration would have let it out a long time ago. But now we see that the highest ranking leader of the Democrats in the House had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, was soliciting campaign funds from him, seeming.
To be clear, there is no protection for pedophiles, no protection for the rich and powerful men of either party who participated, who turned a blind eye, who winked and grinned while witnessing the horrific abuses of young children. Release.
Fewer than 20% of United Health Plan's enrollees are in Medicare Advantage, yet that slice brings in nearly half of United Healthcare's health plan revenues. So what?
We're about to become 250 years old. And we were able to do so because at the time we were one of the most well-read nations in the world, influenced by the Enlightenment, understanding the importance and significance of education.
I think that the American values are enshrined in our Judeo-Christian heritage and our Western heritage, and both of those are really combined and found in the Declaration of Independence. But